This morning, let's explore the Buddha's Master Your Senses discourse. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Yoda learned to meditate on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a question, there is no need to be shy. Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Unless, of course, you're watching a replay, then you'll want to type your question in the comment area below the video. And if it's a real good question, it'll inspire a future class. This discourse comes to us courtesy of the Dhammapada, translated by Thomas by Rome, adapted by yours truly. Master your senses, what you taste and smell, what you see, what you hear. In all things be a master of what you do and say and think. Be free, are you quiet, quiet your body, quiet your mind. By your own efforts, wake yourself, watch yourself, and live joyfully. Follow the truth of the way, reflect upon it, make it your own. Live it will always sustain you. Well, gee, Dhammapada of questionable origin, how are we supposed to do that? How do we tame our senses? Well, you don't do it by indulging them, you don't do it by repressing them. You do it by practicing awareness and acquiescence. Notice and in harmony with your enthusiastic inhalation, and release in harmony with your relaxing exhalation. It is a simple path, but profoundly effective. Let's see, I'm going to tap the OBS button. And now for approximately 40 seconds of housekeeping. Every 12 hours, I broadcast a live meditation class without any ads. This channel is supported by the generosity of viewers just like you. With your help, this channel could come to support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, each replete with a resident teacher and their apprentice. If this speaks to you and you'd like to help out even for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month, you could use your smartphone to capture this QR code, or you could simply scroll down and click the link in the description area below the video. The choice is yours. I leave it to you. And now it's time for this morning's primary practice text. Just as a ball player will warm up before going to bat, I think it would be quite lovely if we warmed up the neural pathways of love and enthusiasm by chanting Refuge and Bodhicitta before we begin. Together, let's chant. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. It's, normally we would chant the Heart of Wisdom Sutta, but I thought it would be fun if we chanted something else this morning. So, quick like a buddy, I'm going to tap button 14, and hopefully that'll take us to a text known as Outline of Practice. It is attributed to Bodhidharma, the Indian who is accredited with bringing Chan or Zen or Jhana to China. It was translated by Red Pines and adapted once again by yours truly. Oops, gotta find the right button. It's no fun unless I push the right button in the right sequence. Mini Rosie, let's see. So by way of explanation, when I chant, there are many chants that are popular in Tibet. The one that really strikes me as the easiest is one where you chant in monotone with two exceptions. The first exception being the first syllable of the triplet or the couplet you're chanting, and the second exception being not the last, but the second to the last syllable. So let's make sure the display is still synchronized. Fabulous. Many Rosie to the path, but basically there are only two: reason and practice. Which reminds me of contemplation and meditation, but let's go on. To enter by reason means to realize the essence through instruction, and to believe that all things share the same true nature, which is not apparent because it is shrouded by sensation and delusion. Those who turn from delusion back to reality, who meditate on was the absence of self and other, the oneness of mortal and sage. And who remain unmoved even by scriptures, are in complete and unspoken agreement with reason. Okay, here we go. Without moving, without effort, they enter, we say, by reason. So now we come to the second paragraph. To enter by practice refers to for all-inclusive practices. Suffering injustice, adapting to conditions, seeking nothing, and practicing the Dharma. For suffering injustice, when those who search for the path encounter adversity, they shall think to themselves, in countless ages gone by, I've turned from the essential to the trivial, and wandered through all manner of existence, often angry without cause and guilty of numberless transgressions. Now though I do no wrong, I am punished by my past. Neither gods nor men can foresee when an evil deed will bear its fruit. I accept it with an open heart and without complaint of injustice. One moment. So this is not saying this is the truth. This is saying this is how one can practice. So this was never intended for victim blaming, to be used in the court of law to blame someone for being sexually assaulted or physically assaulted or verbally assaulted, and to say, shut up, you have it coming. This is a way for people to cope. This is a way for meditators to extricate themselves from self-pity and resentment. Now, there are other ways of doing it by contemplating the nature of stress, compassion, impermanence, and no-self. Let's see where this goes. When the sutras say, and I'm going to replace this with the word read. I was once scolded in debate for that, and it kind of stuck with me. When the sutras read, when you meet with adversity, do not be upset because it makes sense. With such understanding, you are in harmony with reason, and by suffering injustice, you enter the path. So, suffering is a funny word. Suffering often means being subject to harm, contemporarily, but in an older sense, it meant endure. So I'm going to do an adaptation in real time. Now, we use the coping tool of karma not for self-loathing and fatalism, but it's simply as a way to dodge self-pity and resentment. Let's continue. Second, adapting to conditions. As mortals, we are ruled by conditions, not by ourselves. All the suffering and joy we experience depend on condition. If we should be blessed by some great reward, such as fame or fortune, it is the fruit of a seed planted by us in the past. One moment. Thank you for your patience. When conditions change, it ends wide-eyed in its existence. While success and failure depend on conditions, the mind neither waxes nor wanes. Those who remain unmoved by the wind of joy silently follow the path. So, the intention expressed by Bodhidharma is not to tell us what the truth is and discuss metaphysical realities, but to help someone in meditation cope with things when in meditation they're reminded of a stress they're enduring right now, or perhaps a slight they endured in the past. Humans are really good at storytelling. We're really good at telling us stories that seem to justify, minimize, rationalize, or fatalize our bad behaviors while condemning others. And while that might make for interesting literature and theater and song, it makes for terrible mental health. Now, once again, this is super important. Effective meditation will cause our choices, utterances, and deeds to be like fish that flow in the river of our spontaneous, of our centered spontaneity. And so, if you're in an abusive situation, centered spontaneity will often lead you to leave. And that's perfect, that's fine, you're flowing from centered spontaneity. When we start getting stuck in storytelling and rage and fear, that's not centered spontaneity. And a way to extricate ourselves, at least during meditation, could be these contemplations shared by Bodhidharma, long dead many centuries. Let's continue. They're taking nothing, people of this world are deluded. They are always longing for something, always inward seeking. But the wise wake up, they choose reason over custom. They fix their minds on the sublime and let their bodies change with the seasons. I don't know about you, but I want to be pretty. And I suffer sometimes from pathological optimism, which means every day when I get naked and step in the shower, I pass by the mirror. And I'm horrified when I don't see the body of Daniel Craig from Casino Royale stepping out of the Caribbean, greeting me. Instead, I see this. And I'm forced to conclude, clearly there's something wrong with the mirror. That way leads to turmoil. It's much wiser to make peace with the fact our bodies are changing. And we are sprinting, metaphorically speaking, to the grave. Regardless of how ethically and wisely we eat and exercise, we're only forestalling the inevitable. Does that mean ethical and wise diets are folly? No, they're great. But pursue them non-neurotically. Pursue exercise and nutrition because they help your body and brain. They help to optimize your body and brain so you can be the best person of the best you can be in this situation at this time in these circumstances. There's nothing wrong with optimization as long as it's done from love and wisdom and not neurosis and folly. Let's continue. All phenomena are empty and they contain nothing worthy of desiring. One moment. Calamity forever alternates with prosperity. To dwell in the three realms is to dwell in a burning house. So the three realms are just a way of saying desire, form, and formless. So there's many ways of looking at desire, form, and formless. The Buddha was not big on getting stuck in metaphysics. So what is the trenchant, pragmatic, earthy way of looking at desire, form, and formlessness? Simple. The stages of meditation. There's nothing magical about meditation. The longer you sit in meditation, the more profound more tranquil it becomes. That's no great accomplishment. Every night, most of us fall asleep. Every night we fall into a thoughtless swoon before first we are roused by dreams, and then we wake up, either to roll over or to pad down the hall and go potty. So when some people laud the depth of meditation, that's nothing worth praising. That's a natural mechanism. So some people are really impressed with themselves. They're like, dude, I meditated and I really went deep. Yeah, but are you still a dick? So desire, form, and formless just refers to one's experiences in meditation. And what's being said here is that you're still subject to stressors and the causes of stressors, regardless of how impressed you are with your own meditation. Let's continue. To have a body is to suffer. Does anybody with a body know peace? Those who understand this detach themselves from all that exists and stop imagining or seeking anything. So detached does not mean we don't care. The second noble truth is right aspiration. It's good to practice compassion. It's good to practice empathy. It's good to practice love. But we must do so non-neurotically. The sutras say to seek is to suffer, to seek as nothing is bliss. When you seek nothing, you are on the path. For practicing the Dharma, the Dharma is the The Dharma is the truth that all natures are pure. So what does that mean? Simply this: whatever we notice during our enthusiastic inhalation, we are able to release during our relaxing exhalation as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void, as if they were as non-graspable as the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although it could be tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the touch. That is the purity we are referring, the purity of emptiness. But by this truth all appearances already, defilement and attachment, subject and object do not exist. The sutras say the Dharma includes no being, because it is free from the impurity of being. And the Dharma includes no self, because it is free from the impurity of self. Those wise enough to believe and understand this truth are bound to practice according to the Dharma. And since that which is real includes nothing worth begrudging, they give their body life and property and charity without regret. So this is a reference to the Bodhicharyavatara, the way of the Bodhisattva, attributed to Shantideva. Without the vanity of giver, gift, or recipient, and without the bias or attachment. The idea of giver, gift, and recipient, or three circles of the offering, is inferred in both the Heart of Wisdom Sutra as well as the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, or the greater discourse upon the four bases of mindfulness. So what is an example of giver, gift, and recipient? How about an insult? John gave me an insult. That would be the giver. That insult would be the gift. Me, oh glorious me, would be the recipient. And so the wise person might explore the emptiness of all three. Notice John, relaxing. That insult, relaxing. Notice me, relaxing. These ridiculously easy contemplations help us to let go. And to eliminate impurity they teach others, but without becoming attached to form. So they teach non-neurotically. Do not fall into the trap of being controlling. Better to be laid back than controlling. Do not fall into the... beware of teachers who, like Shakespeare's Hamlet, say, I must be cruel to be kind. No. No, you must not. Thus, through their own practice, they are able to help others and glorify the way of enlightenment, not with their words, but by their example. The way of enlightenment is not glorified by people saying, it's so, dude, it's so awesome. No, we glorify the way of enlightenment by being the best version of ourselves, by being the person that our dogs already think we are. As with charity, they also practice the other virtues. But while practicing the 6 virtues to eliminate illusion, they practice nothing at all. So, in other words, they are not impressed with they don't believe their own press. They might notice that they're being generous, but they let go of it. They may notice they're practicing nonviolence, they let go of it. So all that means is whatever we do, positive or negative, we notice it during our enthusiastic inhalation, we release it during our tranquil exhalation. It's as simple as that. Let's continue. This is what is meant by practicing the Dharma. All right. So let's jump into this morning's practice. I'm going to tap button number 9. Return us to this morning's practice text. Quick adjustment to the word program, and we're off. Okay, so right now we're going to play with the lessons gleaned from this text by Bodhidharma. So let's hit paste. Okay. Okay, well, let's fix that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, take 2. We're going to hit copy. We slide back. And we're going to hit paste. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Okay. So quick like a bunny. Suffering injustice. Okay. Be quite just. The second one, adapting to conditions. One, two, three. Seeking nothing. And we come to our fourth one. All right, so let's play with these contemplations and then go straight to meditation. Let's play with the first contemplation 4 times. During the enthusiastic inhalation, we could mentally recite, how could this? And then during the tranquil, the sedating or relaxing exhalation, we could mentally recite, be quite just. How could this be quite just? How could this have causes? Those first two contemplations seem very similar, but there's a subtle difference. How seeking increased stress. How could this not be me? Quick like a bunny, I'm going to copy this and paste it right here. Now let's hang out with notice this relaxing. So when memories come, our job is not to push them away. Our job is to make peace with them, not through self-talk, but through the skillful use of our autonomic nervous system. Noticing during our enthusiastic inhalation, releasing during our relaxing exhalation. There is a wonderful book called Free Will by the neuroscientist Sam Harris, who says in the absence of free will, we are all just puppets of causality. So just as we would, if you were beaten by a stick, the villain is not the stick, it is the person wielding the stick. What is said here, and said by Sam Harris, and inferred by Shantideva, is that people are not our assailants. People are merely cudgels wielded by causality. A complex net of interdependence. Now, just as Typhoid Mary was dangerous, although she was not malicious, and she needed to be separated from society not as a punishment but as a protective measure, similarly, those who are in the thrall of psychosis or psychopathy and who harm others, while it may not be their fault, they are still a danger. So there's nothing wise or enlightened about doing nothing about the cruelty of others. We must recognize that although we protect people from those who are temporarily in the thrall of cruelty and violence, we must recognize the larger order causes of that violence if as a society we are to prevent such things from happening in the future. Science has shown that scarcity changes the brain, that being subject to cruelty and institutional violence changes the brain. When we contrast the behaviors of chimpanzees with bonobos who share a common ancestor, we see the former being aggressive and the latter being harmonious. The deciding factor is not their genetic makeup, but their circumstances. Chimpanzees live with scarcity, bonobos live with security and plenty. That is a strong argument found in a wonderful book, The New Human Rights Movement, which I strongly recommend. It's written by Peter Joseph and can be found on Amazon. There are those who teach Zen saying, do nothing but sit and breathe. But Bodhidharma's instructions were more elaborate than that. Someone would say, solve this riddle, but Bodhidharma did not teach that. So my favorite form of Zen is Proto-Zen, that which was originally taught by Bodhidharma. There is a popular myth mistaken for reality that if you can defeat someone in debate, you're right and they're wrong. Or if you can outshout someone, you're right and they're wrong. We saw that in the Republican primaries. Several years ago, and it really did not end well. Although I'm not a Christian, I have read the Bible many times, and in the Bible we read the gospel account of the events prior to Christ's crucifixion, where there were railing accusations made against them, and he sat in silence, not defending himself. I think it's safe to say that Pontius Pilate was not wiser or more powerful than Jesus, as depicted by the gospel narrative. Therefore, one can conclude that might does not make right, and outshouting your opponent does not make you correct. Let us conclude with 3 sets of chants, beginning with impermanent zeal and love. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then humble others do likewise. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness flow spontaneous and uncontrived. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from their happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel if you feel I have earned it, please type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it on social media. In approximately 10.5 hours, we could return to explore brainstorms, inconvenience, and meditation, as well as chant and meditate some more. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.